Hey everybody, we are officially live. I'm so excited to get started for our second mentor workshop of the semester. If you are watching with us, the recording of this, please feel free to fast forward by 7 minutes. We will get started shortly. So if you're watching with me live, introduce yourself in the chat and share where you're tuning in from. We're gonna get started in about 7 minutes. Alrighty, we are officially live. The email is officially sent. Hey, Benjamin Martin in Spring Hill, Louisiana. Welcome. Thanks for introducing yourself. Thanks for saying hey. We're going to get started in about 6 minutes. Benjamin, you have any fun fall plans? You going anywhere fun, doing anything cool or exciting? Welcome, welcome. We got new people joining in. Hey, Brittany, Memphis, Tennessee. Very nice. You doing anything fun for the fall? You getting any bonfires out or getting your cool flannels on or your pumpkin spice lattes? Looking forward to cooler weather. No, yeah, me too. I live in Austin, Texas. It's been warm, but now it's like getting to that perfect zone where it's like 90 during the day and like 70-ish at night, maybe even 60, and I love it. Benjamin, I'd be curious to know in Spring Hill, I don't know how far. Let me look that up. Let me get some context. Spring Hill, Louisiana. Okay. So it's near Murray Lake. It's pretty far up there, actually. Wow, that's right on the border of it looks like Arkansas. Okay, so you're pretty far up there. I bet it's pretty warm. Maybe similar temperature to like Dallas-ish. It'll get down to 40 a night here in about a week. That's nice. Yeah, that sounds nice. You're having a bonfire this weekend. Good for you. Hey, cute fall photos with the pup is is if we're not here to take cute fall photos with the pup, what are we here for in the fall? Hey, Antoine, welcome. We're gonna get started in 4 minutes. 4 minutes, and we will get started. Introduce yourself in the chat. If you got any fun fall plans, let me know. Any fun travel or cool concerts you're excited to go see? Welcome, welcome, newcomers. We got some new people joining in. Introduce yourself in the chat. Andrew, Providence, Rhode Island. Very nice. Very nice. You know, I'd be curious to know, Andrew, is the pizza in just the Northeast just at a level above everything else? I just see these Dave Portnoy pizza rating videos all the time, and man, it just makes me think I should make a trip up to like Connecticut, Rhode Island, New York, Boston area just to try the pizza because from what I hear, from what I see, it looks incredible. So, I mean, I don't know if you're a pizza fan, Andrew, but I must ask for someone who lives in the area, is the pizza truly on a level that is like incomprehensible? Deborah, living in New York City. Welcome. Ooh, preparing for your first trial in Massachusetts Superior Court. Congratulations. Antoine from Virginia, Hampton Roads region. Very nice. Pizza is amazing up here with many twists. Please visit. It's impeccable. When you say many twists, tell me more, Andrew. I'm genuinely intrigued because it doesn't seem like it's that diverse. It's pretty much the same core pizza. You know, Dave Portnoy rates a pizza based on its flop level and crispness. It seems very similar. They all seem, by the way, it looks delicious. I'm not knocking it. It just doesn't look like there's that many twists or turns with the pizza. It looks pretty much like the same, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm misunderstood in this pizza endeavor. I just love food. Lobster roll in Boston can't be beat. You know what, Benjamin? That's a really good point. I totally agree. I just think a caveat, like for me, it's got to have no mayonnaise. I think sometimes with lobster rolls, the mayo to lobster ratio is just too much mayo. And it's like, here, I'm here to enjoy good lobster, good Maine lobster, or in New England lobster. And if it's too filled up with too much mayonnaise, it's not as good. But that's maybe my take. I don't know. Rhode Island Food Fights host Lord of the Pies to compete for the. Okay, I'll have to check that out. Is this a TV show or is this on YouTube? I've not heard of Baker's Pizza. I will look it up. Is it different from other pizza, Andrew? I just, as you can tell, my personal passions are food. I live to eat. I don't eat to live. And yeah, as you can tell, I love talking about food. So and I love this food conversation. Um, beyond mentorship, I love talking about food, I guess, and eating food and cooking food. I love watching cooking videos and cooking subsequently. All right, y'all, for those of you who are tuning in, okay, Baker, you know what? I'm gonna put that in my search bar, Baker's Pizza, so you don't forget it. Rhode Island. Baker's Corner Pizza. Got it. Okay, cool. Well, hey, everybody, it's officially 6 o'clock in Austin, Texas, and 7 o'clock on the East Coast, 4 o'clock on the West, 5 o'clock in Mountain Time. It is time to get started. Can you confirm the other workshop dates that are in the fall 2024 schedule? This is workshop will be on the 10th, not tonight. Yeah, absolutely. Let me pull up the mentor workshop schedule. Good question, Brittany. Alumni Mentor Guidebook. So next workshop will be on Wednesday, October 30th, same exact time, 7 Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. And then our final workshop of the semester will be on November 13th, that Wednesday, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. Apologies for the confusion, as I do believe it originally was put for the 10th, and I even can see on here that is put for the 10th, but it's on Wednesdays. It used to be on Thursdays. We changed them to Wednesdays. I think a year ago, but I apologize for that misprint on there. And I appreciate you correcting me and yeah, clarifying that. So yeah, next workshop, October 30th. After that, November, I just pulled it up. November 13th. Perfect. So thanks for asking that, Brittany. That's great. Leroy, thanks for being here. Yeah, no, apologies for the confusion. It's definitely my fault. Let's dive in. So we're here to talk about a variety of things, but hopefully y'all have started with your mentor conversations. And what we're going to cover here is one, how to build a deeper relationship with your mentee. Two, we're going to cover how to help your mentee with accountability. Actually, sorry, I scratched that. We're going to first start with how to set proper expectations. Today we're going to cover how to set proper expectations with your mentee. And then we're going to talk about how to help your mentee find balance and set a vision. So I've got a set of suggested questions that I love to ask to help a mentee set a vision and find balance. So if you're ever with a mentee that feels stressed or like they're being pulled from all different corners and angles and they just don't really have clarity as to what they want to do next, I've got some great questions that will help you get to the bottom of it and help them really identify what they want to identify as what their next step is moving forward professionally. If you have any issues with connecting with your mentee, please email support@ambitioninmotion.com. My colleague Tommy was sick towards the end of the week last week and the early part of this week. So he, I know, has responded to a ton of emails today. So apologies for the delay on that. If you sent an email last Thursday or Friday and you didn't get a response today, that is why he was a little bit under the weather, had to take the end of last week and the early part of this week off, but he's back. He's checking emails. You probably have a response to some of your emails. If you had sent some emails, now, during this workshop, it'll be about 10, maybe 15 minutes. So anyways, let's dive right in. So before we get started on the how to properly set expectations for the mentor relationship, I want to reinforce the 3 core keys to being a successful mentor. 1, strategy. 2, story. 3, state. And I said them in reverse order of importance. State is the physical state. How are you coming into your mentor conversations? When you're coming into your mentor meetings, are you coming in sad, mad, dejected, angry, frustrated? Or are you coming in a good, upbeat mentality or attitude? So I don't, you might have some stressful things going on at work. I know the economy is in a weird place right now. I know a lot of companies are doing some weird things corporate-wise that might be impacting, your stress levels and your just level of comfort at work and work-life balance. But what I really want to challenge you and just impress upon you is the power of showing up present when it comes to your mentor conversations. And so one thing you can do before having a mentor conversation is let it out, let it loose, get your arms going, pound your chest, get your body moving, getting your blood flowing. I know this sounds silly, but maybe fake laughing for 30 seconds, doing some jumping jacks, just getting your blood flowing, doing a power pose. Those are all great things that you can do to get your body into a physical state conducive to being a great mentor, because ultimately, hopefully, what that does is it rubs off on your body language. We know the majority of our communication is via our body language. And so if we're able to get ourselves in a state conducive for being successful as a mentor, our body language should hopefully reinforce a positive nature. Second core key to being a successful mentor is your story. So what is the story you tell yourself for why you will or will not be a successful mentor? We covered that in our last mentor workshop. I love the responses you gave last time in the comment section about why you're going to be a great mentor. The thing I'd love to challenge you all to, and post it in the comment section, I'd love to learn. But why will you be a great mentor when your mentee proposes something that's a little bit different from what you expected? Maybe they showed up late. Maybe they showed up unprepared. Maybe they didn't have questions ready for you like you would have liked them to. Maybe they had some background noise that was distracting, but you didn't know how to confront them about that. Post in the comment section why you will be a great mentor for your mentee, even when distractions come up, when things don't go as expected, when maybe your mentee isn't as prepared as you'd like them to be. Post in the comment section why you're going to be a great mentor, no matter the circumstances that you are presented with. I'd love to learn more about it. Post in the comments. So my mentee has not responded directly. That is from Deborah. Deborah, my mentee's not responded. Should I just reach out to support directly? No. So yeah, well, yes, definitely reach out to Tommy at support. But we have facilitated the mentor introductions. We've got your mentee's contact information on the dashboard. I know that there are some mentees, and this isn't always the case, but sometimes we have scenarios where a mentee will abstain from reaching out to their mentor until their resume is perfect. I've talked to a handful of mentees in the past where they've said things like, well, I want my resume to be perfect and I want my cover letter to be perfect. And I don't want to reach out to my mentor until everything is perfected. And it's like, hey, at the end of the day, this mentor is not the hiring manager. Meet with them, get feedback, get guidance. And ultimately, yeah, you're going to learn a lot. And it doesn't matter if you don't have every I dotted and every T crossed. Just launch. But sometimes they need a little coaxing. So maybe follow up with your mentee. Maybe send them a text message as you've got their contact information on your dashboard. If you still don't hear back from them, yeah, message Tommy and we'll get involved. We'll give them a call. We'll figure out what's going on. They more likely than not, putting our empathy hats on, pretty stressed with the semester. They're probably in the meat and thick of the semester right now. Maybe they've got finals or midterms or the new exams that students have coming up these days, and perhaps that could be delaying their response rate. So I wouldn't worry about it, Debbie. At this juncture, I would just maybe get creative about your follow-up. So texting, emailing, all that sort of fun stuff. Yeah, so Melanie, my mentee's from Florida, and with everything, here's the thing, Melanie, reach out, follow up with your mentee. Sure, they probably are going through something really difficult right now with the storms and the hurricane and everything like that. but it can't hurt to have a little email in their inbox. Maybe they're able to check it. Maybe the only thing they got access to is email, so they've just been waiting for this email. Either way, send them a message, and if they're delayed in getting back to you, I appreciate you giving them the grace because you understand that they're in the middle of a hurricane right now. Yeah, so Leroy, great. I'm great. I'm so glad that you shared that story. Your mentee responded today, speaking tomorrow, took a few days. In your case, that's normal. Mentees can be slow to email. Like, bear in mind, these are students here, y'all. So as professionals, we've got a professional etiquette and cadence about how long is a normal and appropriate time to respond to emails. For students, this might be their very first time having a professional email or a semi-professional email, and they're still maybe kind of figuring out what is a regular cadence to actually go about checking their email. I know it may sound crazy, but it doesn't actually come naturally to check your email every single day. And perhaps maybe for your student, they haven't checked their email in a week, maybe. I don't know. I know some people, they get like hot flashes when they think about the concept of not checking their email in a week. But the point is let's give a little grace. Let's be patient. Let's follow up with them via text message and just say, hey, put the empathy hat on. Perhaps they were busy with school. Perhaps they, haven't developed a great cadence for how often or how regularly to check their emails. If that's the case, yes, give them a follow-up, send them a text message, give them a call. That can be a great way to get the conversation rolling, and perhaps it just didn't go through to their email quite yet. Yeah, video calling tomorrow. That's great, Brittany. I love hearing that. Jen, you spoke with your mentee today. Fantastic. Sarah, welcome. Sarah, thanks for sharing that. I love that. You run with whatever is happening. Bad day, tell a joke. Oh, I love that. Melanie, great insights. Great kind of coping mechanisms for when things are going tough. I love that. Annie, you'll be a great mentor because you can relate and listen without judgment. I love that. That's amazing. No, Leroy, great examples there. Erica, very nice. Catherine, very great. Antoine, yeah, you're waiting for your mentee to respond, but yeah, giving her space. I think, by the way, there's a fine balance within all of this. So you send an email, you wait a few days, maybe send another email, send a text message. I think those are great. That's a great cadence to follow up, just as a core, just kind of concept of thinking about things. Has anybody recorded their notes on the dashboard? I try to click on the button, but it doesn't do anything. Ooh, okay, Brittany, that's a really good point. My team and I will look at that. Let me make a little note to check out the notes tab. We make updates to the site. And sometimes when you make an update to one part of the website, it impacts another part of the website that you never even realized would be impacted. So Brittany, my team and I will check that out and we will get that fixed if there's something wrong. And if there's nothing wrong, we'll let you know. Brittany Campbell. I'm just making a personal note to check out the notes tab. Oh, great. Khadijah, great. You contact your mentee directly, got a response immediately. Sometimes that happens with students. Like, let's remember sometimes this might be their very first professional email etiquette experience. So I appreciate the grace and the empathy there. Rakesh, talked to your mentee today. Fantastic. Love that. I've already had a meeting with your mentee. You're a perfect match. I love that. That's so great to hear, Erica. That's amazing. Scheduled using Google Meet. Rakesh, that's great. Yeah, Brittany, my team will look into the notes tab. Okay, let's jump into the next part. So how to set proper expectations. So your first call should be all about your mentee. Learn what is going on in the world. Ask them questions. I'm a big fan of asking them to share with you their story, starting with kindergarten, what their dream job is, and where they would like to be in 5 years. And I like to ask it in that order. And the reason why I like asking that is so often we say, hey, tell me about yourself, tell me your story. And people immediately just started with what happened over the last maybe year or two. But there's so much more context as to who the student is that came from, where they were in kindergarten. And what's cool about asking that story of tell me your story starting with kindergarten is that oftentimes people will share their vulnerabilities with you. They'll share their things that really made them anxious when they were younger, but as they got older and more mature and more knowledgeable, they realized that this, shouldn't be holding them back. And oftentimes they'll share stories of how they overcame, trials and tribulations. The reason why that's so critical from a mentoring perspective is because this gives you now context. It allows you to build a basis for who this mentee is. So when it comes to further conversations, when you see that this mentee's stuck on something and it takes a little bit of action for them to get over that hurdle, you could say, hey, you remember that one time you told me that you were really anxious or frustrated or nervous about X, and then you ended up getting over it by pursuing Y, and it ended up making your life so much better? I see this as being another circumstance, because what you're doing is you're showing them examples in their own life of when they overcame something hard or something that was holding them back. So I love to ask the story. Tell me your story starting with kindergarten, and just let them lay it out. Tell the full story, because that gives you good insight and context as to what they can achieve and the things that they've overcome in their life to get to this point. The second thing I like to ask is, what is your dream job? I love to ask that, because then it gives you some clarity as to where they're going, what they're trying to achieve, what they're doing. And you might hear a dream job that they've got that isn't big enough. You're like, dream bigger. You can challenge them on that. That's okay. As a mentor, part of our job is to see something in our mentees that maybe they don't quite see in themselves. And that's a great thing to do, is when you say like, hey, what's your dream job? And if they're like, my dream job is to be an accountant one at an accounting firm, XYZ accounting firm, and eventually work my way up to this. And it's like, really, is that your dream job? It could be, but like, let's dream big. Maybe it's to be the CFO of a company. Maybe it's to, leverage your accounting skills to start a nonprofit that helps out these types of people. Maybe it's to do a variety of different things. It could be anything. There's no dream job that's bad, but the one thing I would encourage you to do is push them to think outside the box and hit the peaks of their boundaries of what their excitement level is, because the world is their oyster and there's so much they can achieve in their careers. And then the last question I like to ask on this topic is, where would you like to be in 5 years? I love to ask that question, because what it does is it allows for you to say, okay, cool, your dream job is this, big, hairy, audacious goal out here in the future. Okay, cool. In 5 years, what can you do to take steps towards getting there? It allows us to take an incremental approach towards actually achieving our dream job. So those are the 3 questions I really like to ask to just get to know our mentees a little bit better and understand where they're coming from. Then once we've learned this information, I love to ask a mentee what they believe is one thing they can work on between now and your next call that will help them get closer to accomplishing their goals. So they might say, oh, well, there's nothing I can really do. This is a 5-year goal. Like, I don't really know. And it's like, well, hold on a second. Let's challenge that. Could you connect with someone on LinkedIn that's doing the type of work that you're currently aspiring to achieve? Could you send out maybe 20 LinkedIn connection requests to people that are doing the type of work that you're trying to achieve, knowing that not everyone's going to accept your connection request? That could be one thing. Could you send them a message on LinkedIn? Could you send them an email? There's so many things that we can do, but so often we hold ourselves back from the follow-up and the outreach because we think no one's going to get back to us, or no one's going to care, or even if they do, that we're not ready to actually have that conversation. Phooey. We know that the earlier we can get started having those conversations, the closer we can get to learning whether or not this is in fact our dream job. Because there's nothing worse than entering into what we thought that was our dream job, ultimately to end up realizing that it's not our dream job anymore because we didn't have enough conversations or experiences to inform us otherwise. Now, my next tip is, remember what that thing is. Whatever that thing is that they said they wanted to work on between now and your next conversation, remember that. And so leverage the notes tab or take your own notes and get a status update when you have your next conversation to see if they were able to accomplish that task. That'll let you know whether or not they're able to prioritize or if they got caught back with things. And then maybe you can diagnose what they got caught back with and why they got caught back with some things. Now, adjacent to setting proper expectations is handling issues. You may have a mentee that shows up late. You may have a mentee that you felt didn't come prepared. You may have a mentee that maybe had noise in the background and that was distracting. Or they asked to reschedule on short notice, or anything that could have frustrated you. Anything could have frustrated you. The first step of all steps that I encourage is not to get mad at them or tell them what they did was wrong. Like, this is not the moment to get on our high horse and an ego trip about why they did what was frustrating and that you're busy and that you got all these things going on in your world, in your life, and that you took this time to meet with them. This is not that time. What we need to do is we need to practice our grace hats. We need to put on grace, and we need to more or less, my suggestion is go through the call like as if nothing happened. Take the time to listen to them and ask questions. And by the end of the call, you say this. Let's say your mentee's name is John. I'm just making that up. Hi, John. I really enjoyed this conversation, this first meeting or the second meeting. Did you? They'll likely say yes. Why? Because you've been a great mentor to them up to this point. And then you say, hey, I feel like I can offer you a lot as your mentor, but for our future calls, there needs to be some things that I would like from you. First, if we say we're going to start at 10, if we say we're going to start at 10 a.m. Eastern time, then we start at 10 a.m. Not at 10:15, not at 10:05, or if they had to reschedule at the last second. Like, hey, if we say that we're going to meet on the 10th, we meet on the 10th. Now, I get it, things come up. Give me at least 24 hours notice on that. Or if there was background noise, you say, hey, sure, we met on time, but there was a lot of background noise. You had roommates going in and out. I felt like was distracting. Is it possible for you to get a quiet place or a separate place, a secluded place for you to be able to focus on this conversation? I feel like I can be the best mentor I can be for you if you can, be able to sequester yourself into a different area and just be focused on just this conversation. Can I count on you to do that? Whether it be on time for the meeting, show up for the meeting date that we said we meet up, to be prepared for the meeting. Ask them, can I count on you to do that? By waiting to set expectations after building rapport, you are significantly more likely to have a strong relationship with the student than if you got mad at them right at the beginning of the conversation. Because ultimately, if you got mad at them at the beginning of the conversation and you say, oh, I can't believe you'd show up late to this meeting, or I can't believe you wouldn't take me seriously, or you can't believe you wouldn't prioritize this mentor meeting, yeah, you're just going to turn them off. They're not going to want to meet with you anymore. So my take is build rapport, let them understand the value you bring to the table, and then you set your expectations for what you like from them moving forward. Any questions about that? So Annie, yeah, your mentee reached out once you contacted him through the phone, not email. We have our meeting scheduled. Amazing. Antoine, love that idea. Great. Brenda, that's great that you met. Oh, Melanie, I love that you do that with your kids. That's great. Rakesh, talked about dream job, how to achieve that. I love it. Antoine, leading with empathy is important. Georgiana, my mentee went with another. No, your mentor. So in your case, there might be a scenario where your mentee has two mentors, and that's a great thing. It means that we had a great mentor response, and your mentees now got multiple insights and perspectives to work through their challenges. So if there's ever an issue with that, just send us an email at support@ambitionemotion.com, Georgiana, and we'll jump through there and just connect with your mentee to let them know, like, hey, you've got two mentors this semester, and it's an amazing thing. Brittany, remember that they have lives just like we do. I love it. Yeah. Ooh, Sarah, you really humbled yourself in your mentee. I made it more like a collaborative. I love that. And honestly, Sarah, there's a lot of research that backs what you're saying about a collaborative relationship rather than bringing your expectations to the table. My team and I have done a lot of research on what we call horizontal mentorship, or two people open to learning from each other in a mentor relationship. And we find those relationships to be far more productive than just the hierarchical. So I know we are all in the mentor position here within these relationships, but I do want to encourage you to try to level yourself on a level playing field with your mentee, because that is really where, one, we can learn from our mentee, and two, where long-lasting productive relationships can come from. I love that. Goal setting. Oh, that's amazing, Sarah. I love that you both did goal setting in your most recent conversation. But yeah, so back to the horizontal mentorship thing. We practice that in our executive mastermind group. So we have leaders that come together and we do mentorship, but it's not hierarchical mentorship. It's two leaders open to learning from each other. And that, our mantra for those groups are, I don't care how old you are, I don't care how much money you make, I don't care what your title is. You must be open to learning from this leader, and they must be open to learning from you. It does a lot, and it's great. And yeah, that mentality of horizontal mentorship is great in a mentoring conversation. Kelly. Yeah, we'll follow up and we'll get that taken care of. Let me make a note. Georgiana Ray Kelly. Sorry, I'm taking a note, Kelly. Evan, how do you show your mentee that you are worth building rapport with if the first meeting should be mostly about them? How much should we share about ourselves? So, Evan, great question. The answer is really when we think about rapport building, what's so critical is people feeling like they're heard. So at the end of the day, it's not as much about you as it is about them. So if we can ask them questions, if we can help them clarify their circumstances, we're much more likely to get them to open up and engage with us. So yeah, Evan, great question. It's not about them learning about us for them to feel connected to us. It's about us learning about them, asking them questions where they feel that rapport because we took the time to listen. And that's really powerful. Leroy. So I'm looking into my intro call before planning the meeting so I can talk a little bit before we really go into things in the first official meeting. Leroy, is that a question or is that just a statement? I don't know if I'm reading that as a question properly. If it is a question, could you oh, you're just looking to confirm. Yeah, so you're looking to your intro call before planning the meeting so I can talk a bit. Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, you leverage these workshops as just like a general high level tip and some of these suggested questions I give as a great way to build rapport with your mentee. These are suggestions. These are just strategic ideas that you could leverage to make the most out of your mentor relationships. I've been doing this for 10 years now, and these are things that I found to be tried and true and really effective. But take it for wherever the conversation most naturally goes. Take it for what it is, which is just a suggestion. So if you like these tips and you want to use that as your guide for your mentor conversations, just leverage them. If you want to, if it's more natural to go in a different direction for the conversation, that's also all right too. Rachel, I haven't received any information on what I am supposed to be doing, whether I'm a mentee or a mentor. Rachel, we'll check that out. But if you're here, you're a mentor. So yeah, you are a mentor, Rachel, because we sent you the email. But no, that's a good question. But we'll let me make a note. This is why we do it on live stream, which is great. Mentor. Amazing. Perfect. Great, Brenda. I'm glad that you like the mentor meeting guide. Yeah, we provide those guides and agendas and just suggested conversation tips on the dashboard for you to use if you want it. They're just a guide. All these things are suggestions, y'all. Every mentor relationship is different and unique. Bear in mind, these are things that we find to be effective, but if you want to take the conversation in a different direction because it makes more sense, then take it in that direction. It's totally all right. But these are things that we find to be helpful. So speaking of being helpful, the next thing that I'm going to cover is how to help your mentee with finding balance and identifying a vision. This is something that maybe some mentees might struggle with, especially when they get maybe a little myopic. They get a little like tunnel vision on what is my next step for my career and what I'm trying to achieve. So here are 5 questions that I love to ask to help a student identify a vision. 1, if the situation were to work out in the best way possible, what would it be? I love asking that question when it comes to vision because what it does, it gives them an eye on the prize. It allows them to think about if this were to work out in the best way possible, what would it be? What would that look like? 2, what is one thing that seems impossible, but with a little luck and a lot of work just might be within reach? I love to ask that question because it gets them pushing their boundaries of what is real and what is not possible for them. And I think as a mentor, if we can get them to push their boundaries, that's great. So often we are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. And so we have other people in our lives that are maybe not as ambitious as we are or not as much of a go-getter. Whatever they settle for it's going to be easy for us to look at us like as if we're doing amazing things because we look at our friends, the people we spend the most time with, and they're like, yeah, they're not that ambitious. I'm more ambitious than them, but context is everything. If that's compared to our 5 friends that are pretty lazy, well, yeah, of course they'll make us look like a rock star. But if it's compared to the rest of the world, there might be opportunities for us to grow. And our goal as mentors is maybe to help push their boundaries and help them expand their horizons for what could be possible for them by getting to think about what could be impossible, but with a little luck and a lot of work might be within reach. 3, what will you commit to do? What will you commit to doing today, this week, this month? I love this because it gives a tangible action plan. It gives them something as opposed to you saying, hey, if I were you, I would do this. I'm not a fan of that. Instead of saying, hey, mentee, what will you commit to doing today, this week, this month? Why that's such a great question is it gives them something tangible that they are committing to, essentially, that they say, I'm going to do this thing. Now, they may not hit it, and that's okay. And if that happens, we look at their situation and say, okay, well, why didn't you hit that? And what can you do to try to rectify the situation and become better for the future? 4, who do you know that thinks big? I love asking that question because it allows for them to, back to the statement about we're the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. If there are people that they know think big and we get them to maybe spend more time with them and get them to set their standard of excellence with those people, they're much more likely to raise their bar of what success is defined as for them. And the 5th question I like to ask is, what in your life keeps you thinking small? This is a good question to ask because then it can allow them to acknowledge, okay, oh my gosh, like this small town mindset maybe is drive for my family because I'm a first generation college student. And so for me, like just going to college was like exceeding all the expectations my family could have ever had for me. And, anything above that, it almost seems like I'm playing with house cards. But if it's like, okay, if our goal is to become a C-suite executive, or if our goal is to start a nonprofit, if our goal is to write a book or whatever it might be, just graduating from college isn't the end all be all. The next level is whatever that next level is. And sometimes we may end up realizing, or as mentors, we may end up helping our mentee realize that it's their family, their friends, their such situation that gets them thinking small and thinking that they can't achieve these things. And as mentors, if we can help them see something in themselves that they can't, if we can help see something in them that they can't see in themselves, we can really make a really powerful difference in their lives. So the second thing I wanted to cover was how to help a mentee find balance. So there are 7 questions that I love to ask that help a mentee with finding balance. 1, what do you want to say yes to in your life? I like asking that question because what this does is it allows for your mentee to acknowledge and to clarify what they want more of in their life. 2, what do you need to say no to? This allows us to clarify the things that they know are not serving them and clarify the things that are not serving them and be able to say, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. For some people, it's video games. For other people, it's social media. For some people, it's watching TV. For every person, it's different. But like, if you can get them to say that they need to say no to the endless scroll on Instagram or whatever their addiction is, it gets them focused on the important things. Because I mean, gosh, if you think about how much time a student might spend playing video games, on social media, watching TV, doing Instagram, doing YouTube, if they could take all that time, energy, and effort and put it towards some professional or even personal skill developing outlet, they would become world class at that thing within a year. If you think about it like that, if you think about how much time is spent wasted doing things that are not serving you, and you were to funnel that focus and energy and time into any activity, it could be knitting, it could be basketball, it could be learning accounting, it could be literally any skill or activity or networking or career opportunity, within a year, you'd be world class at whatever that thing is. It's wild to think about, but ultimately, if we can get our mentees to acknowledge what they need to say no to, it allows them to know, like, gosh, I made some mistakes, and at least they can start being accountable for that. 3, when do you feel pulled off center? I love asking that question because it reinforces the second question, which is what do you need to say no to? When you ask them, what do you feel pulled off center? Almost always it's like, I feel procrastinated, or like, I just didn't prepare for this thing, or like, I thought I could get all these things done in a shorter period of time, and ultimately I didn't. And now I'm left in the lurch and trying to catch up, and I feel overwhelmed. Which leads to the fourth question, what contributes to this feeling? And that allows them to clarify, oh my gosh, like what contributes to this feeling is the expectations that I feel like people set upon me, or the expectations I put on myself, and then I don't achieve them because I procrastinated and I didn't spend my time properly. The fifth question I like to ask is, when do you feel most grounded in life? I love to ask that question because then it allows them to really think back to a time when they are most at peace with themselves and the things that they're doing. And they're more or less like helping them acknowledge, when do you feel flow? When do you feel like you're doing something that you've gotten yourself into a flow state and you feel really good about it and you feel grounded and things are working really well? Question six, what in your life takes away from what might be possible for you? I love asking that question because it allows us to acknowledge what are the things that are taking away from what we can achieve and what we need to kind of get rid of so then we can achieve those things. And then the seventh question I like to ask is, what in your life adds to who you are? Amplifies you as a person, amplifies you in your professional goals and acumen. I love asking that question because then it helps them really hone in and clarify, what do I need more of in my life? What do I need less of in my life? What can I do now to start adding the things I want more of and reducing the things I want less of? So anyways, those are some questions that I love to ask to help a mentee find balance and to help a mentee find vision. I'm going to look back into the chat area to see if y'all have any questions. Oh, Brittany, can you write down the questions in the chat? Sheena, yeah, you know what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna post these questions in the chat. That'll make it so much easier. So here's the questions for vision. Maybe I can do them all in one copy paste. If not, I'll individually do them. What? Darn it. Sorry, hold on a second. Take five. Give me a second. These are the questions for vision. What the heck? Every time I copy and paste this, it's not working. All right. What I'll do is I will send an email, or rather, I'll have Tommy send an email with the questions that I shared in terms of the how to help a mentee with vision and a mentee with balance. So then you've got them and can leverage them at your leisure. But anyways, everybody, thanks for being here this evening. I'm so grateful to have you all as a mentor, and I'm excited to continue the mentor relationships and conversations. If you have any questions about anything, please post them in the chat. If I don't hear anything and you've got a question, please email it to Tommy at the support email. I'm happy to have Tommy answer those questions, and then yeah, we'll go from there. But anyways, I will have Tommy email you these suggested questions in terms of helping a mentee identify vision and balance right now. But anyways, thanks for your time, everybody. I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your evening. Once again, I'm so grateful to have you all as a mentor this semester. If you have any questions about anything at all, please feel free to reach out to Tommy. We'll get those questions answered. And if you are interested in learning about our executive mastermind group, send Tommy an email as well. We'll schedule a meeting with me and we'll go from there. But anyways, have a great rest of your evening, everybody. Good night.